profession? How did you get to know all of this food science?
No, neither of us is a chef. We just really like eating. So we figured out that in order to eat well and not break the bank, we had to learn some stuff. But we're lucky to have lots of friends who are also as into food as we are and like to get nerdy about this stuff with us.
Yeah, for sure.
What's the cannabis culture been like out there since you guys got legal?
I think it's been pretty, it's growing. I think, I know there are continuing to be dispensaries that open up. I think shows a pretty steady growth. But you do not have those lines that are an hour or 2 hour, 3 hours long anymore, which is nice.
I was going to ask, do you still have to stand for that? Because, man,
no,
that would not be a fun way to have to start your home bake every time you want to do one.
No, we've upgraded to you can schedule and pick things up now, which is like with all things during the pandemic, like that amount of convenience is so nice to have.
That's sort of how everything's gone now. All right, my butter and my sugar are looking really well mixed together.
Awesome.
Ooh. Yes, and now I just want to eat that, but I know that I'll get high, so I will not eat that. Okay, so now that I've mixed those two together and they're nice and smooth, I now have to add the dark chocolate and the cocoa powder.
Yes.
So the dark chocolate was kind of tough to chop, but I really stuck with it, and I think I did okay.
It's so worth it, we promise.
I'm going to add all of that in.
Yum, that looks amazing. Yeah, so we're adding cocoa powder and dark chocolate because that is going to give you that super, super rich chocolate flavor. So we're sort of double packing the chocolate into our weed brownies.
I love extra chocolate. Give me more.
Yes.
How much of the powder?
Half a cup.
I don't know if maybe I'm just a metrics person, but this seems like a lot.
Well, we want it to have really good flavor, you know?
Yeah, it's got to be chocolatey.
Yeah.
It's got to stand up so it's not too floury.
I think also as an English person, I'm often told that I under-season things and I under-flavor things. So I got to trust the American way.
The excessive way.
Right. Yeah, but the food here tastes so good.
It does.
All right, so my chocolate's sort of, it's looking a little mushy. Now this is looking reminiscent of the brownies that I made as a teenager, where it don't look very good.
If you're having trouble getting the dark chocolate to melt, you can certainly zap that again in the microwave if that would be helpful.
Do I want this to be sort of like a what's the word I'm looking for? Like a silky sort of texture?
Yeah, silky. I always call it a lava-like texture, and I'm not sure why. Maybe I have lava cakes in my mind when I'm describing brownie batter. But we're looking for something that's a little smooth. Now, granted, this is also the part where if I was stirring in chocolate chips to do like a triple chocolate brownie, I would do that here. So if you want, you can leave some chunks of chocolate for a little bit of added texture.
Cool.
Who are we to tell you how to eat your brownies? Yeah.
Exactly. Yes.
And then from there, we're just adding eggs and vanilla extract before we add our flour and baking powder.
3 eggs. I'm running out of bowls. They never have this issue on the Today Show, do they?
They have a whole staff of dishwashers, though.
How do they do it? And how much vanilla?
Let's see. We call for a teaspoon of vanilla.
A tisp. All right. A tisp. So I'm mixing in the vanilla with the eggs. Right?
We're mixing everything into the batter. Yeah.
All into the batter. Yeah. All right, eggs. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay, so I've got my eggs mixed in, my vanilla mixed in with the batter.
And then we're just going to add the dry ingredients.
Flour,
it's going to be a cup of flour,
baking powder,
just a pinch of salt, and then a half tisp of baking powder.
Gorgeous. You have no idea how many times I've changed bowls because this bowl's getting fuller and fuller. You do have to be aware that this makes quite a large volume.
Yeah, well, we're going to cut it into 16 brownies so that no one gets too much.
Everybody can eat one brownie, right?
Yes. I mean, some people at our dinner party opted for 2. But those were the people who knew that they were going home and going straight to bed and they wanted to just get a good night's sleep.
They wanted to conk out. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, I'm not against it. I actually picked a strain, though, that isn't going to get anybody too sleepy. It's going to be like a giggly euphoric.
Ooh, love that.
That'd be great. Yeah.
That feels perfect for dessert.
Right. Yeah. Yes. Somebody sit around and maybe we'll have a fire outside and chill outside.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Wonderful.
Cool. Yeah.
I got my cup of flour. And just a little bit of baking powder. Does baking powder help it rise?
Yes, it does. I know that there's always are you a fudgy brownie person or a cakey brownie person debate. I like the best of both worlds. So that's why I add a little bit of baking powder to our brownies. A little bit more of a rise.
Love it. Okay, so do I have to be very careful with this? I know when you're doing some sorts of flours, you have to be careful not to knock the air out.
No, there's not a ton of air in this recipe. I mean, it should be that lava fudgy consistency. I would actually err on the side of making sure all the flour is very incorporated, because there's nothing worse than a bite of brownie with a floury middle.
Unless that's your thing.
God,
yeah.
gross.
Yeah,
No.
unless it's
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The other thing I did do to add to this, because I thought, maybe they want a little buzz before dessert, is I got a little bit of the decarboxylated cannabis, and we're making pizza, and I was just going to sprinkle a little bit of that on the pizza.
It's very good. We've done that before. It's delicious.
When we were doing actually the infusion, I'm sure that you did like the straining everything out. So with the pizza crust, and I think with a lot of other things, you can take that dry spent weed and then put it in the oven, let it kind of crisp up, and it still takes on some of the saginess, the earthiness of marijuana, but you lose obviously the THC that's within it. So you're just actually really using it for taste. We were doing some research during this whole thing, and we found out that that's maybe not entirely the case. You might not, decarb all of the weed, or you might not get, the spent weed might still have some psychedelic component in it. So we used some caution when doing this, but we didn't really feel any effects when we used it.
Tell me about how you chose the other recipes that you included in the magazine. There were some pretty easy to make crackers. There was some popcorn. There was a pizza crust that was not infused.
So that was like that AVB, already vaped bud, dough. So
right. So that's what gave me the idea to sprinkle my bud.
I feel like the pizza, the brownies, I mean, those are just kind of stoner staples that we wanted to include in there. I mean, those are approachable things. People know them when you mention the words weed or marijuana. Like, they just always imagine those foods. And I think with the sourdough crackers and the salad, we wanted to take a little bit more of a elevated but still approachable kind of dish. I mean, they're both super, artisanal tasting, but still incredibly fresh, easy to make.
Yeah. And I think that with the crackers, we were thinking, whenever we have people over for dinner parties, we always like to have just a little something out for people to nosh on while they're waiting for the main event, which is always Colin's famous pizza. I mean, he is like the pizza guy. And the crackers, we thought that it would be a great way for, we made a batch of infused and a batch of regular crackers and a bunch of dips. So it was a good way for people to get something in their stomachs before, heading down this rabbit hole of a cannabis-infused dinner, while being able to munch on one infused cracker and then like 15 uninfused crackers.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. You kind of have to make sure that you mix them the right way around and don't get too many of the infused. But definitely nice to have just one little 2 milligram something in there while you're eating a little snack. I love to have popcorn and just like throw 1 or 2 pieces of infused popcorn from another bag in with it. And then it's like, I can just sit and snack on the whole thing. I love that idea.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And I mean, I think that really we wanted people to go home like they do from our typical dinner parties, feeling like they got a really delicious meal. Like Colin was saying, elevated but approachable. We love making pizza for friends. And we obviously had to throw a salad in there because we love our fruits and veggies. So we can't let them go left alone for this dinner.
Exactly. Yeah, you got to have a bit of healthy in there too. So my brownie batter is looking really amazing. Once I grease my tin and I throw in my brownie batter, how long does it stay in the oven?
It should be in there for about 25 minutes. This is, it's very dependent on your oven, but I like to take mine out then, even if, the tester that I put in doesn't come out completely clean. And the key, I think, to making really fudgy, delicious brownies is letting them cool completely. You will be tempted to cut into them and sample them, I'm sure, but just wait until they're cool. And that's where you get that perfect texture.
Awesome. Okay, so that's why I'm making them first, and then I'm going to call my friends over to come over and start with the pizza. And hopefully by the time we're finished with that, these brownies will be cooled off and perfect for our dessert.
Yes.
Thank you guys so much for talking me through this. I hope you're proud of what we've done together.
It looks amazing.
I know, like, people who are listening to this cannot see it, but it looks absolutely delicious.
Yeah.
I will.
Next time we want to
come
over for dinner.
Yeah. Oh, please come on over and I'll cook for you guys next time. I'm going to put pictures of this on my social media. I'm on Instagram at Brit the British, so you guys can follow along and see how this adventure went. Colin and Laura, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. Hopefully we'll be able to eat dinner together soon.
Yeah.
Love it. Yeah. Thanks for having us. Good luck with your dinner party.
Thank you.
Thank you. Finally, it was time to invite my new neighbors over to test out my bud-topped pizza and THC-infused brownies. And hope that I didn't get them too high. Yeah, come on in, sweetie. I just finished recording with 2 cooks up in Illinois, and they taught me through how to make the brownies. So the brownies going. Pizza is on its way, about a half hour, and
so did you do butter separately first? Did you have to,
I did oil. I infused oil for the brownies, and then for the pizza, it's actually decarboxylated cannabis that you just sprinkle.
You just sprinkle it on. Yeah, I used to just decarb it and put some in chocolate, but then be like, I want some now.
Really? I didn't know that.
As long as it's decarbonated.
Oh, that looks good.
It's the least healthy dinner of
I love it. That looks so good.
Okay.
Thank you.
And the reviews, the brownies were super fudgy, and we couldn't really taste the weed in them at all. After about an hour, it brought on a nice calm body buzz from one of my friends. The rest of us, our tolerance was much higher, so we opted to smoke the rest of the night away. If I was going to make these brownies again, I'd probably add a few more tablespoons of cannabis oil in there for myself. But it ended up being a great way to get to know some new people in my life without getting uncomfortably intoxicated or having to endure a hangover. So I'd give it a 10 out of 10, would definitely do it again. If you fancy giving your own cannabis-infused dinner a go, why not treat yourself to the latest issue of Different Leaf, the magazine, and check out Colin and Laura's informal guide to hosting an infused dinner on page 65. Thanks to our guests this week, Colin Hanner and Laura Scherb, and to my wonderful neighbors for trusting me to feed them weed. Make sure you're following us on social media at Different Leaf or at Different_Leaf, and I'm at Brit the British. Thanks as always to our wonderful producer, Andrea Maraskin, and thanks to Homebody for the music.